So we're here at BAMPro Open House 2016, here with Randy from BAMPro. Randy, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. We've had a pretty killer event so far. It's our 90th annual open house.
Impressive. You guys look great for your 90th. Yeah.
Yeah, and this particular year, we've got a couple of products that we're focusing on. BAMPro side, we've got the Ingenue Easy lenses, which are incredibly affordable priced, beautiful cinematic lenses from Ingenue.
Yes.
We got the IBE Raptors, which are the super sharp macro lenses that can, like the Ingenues, they can fill either Super 35 or full frame. And also the Cinetech dollies, we were showing a lot of those. And just a lot of all the different camera manufacturers. We got the Canon C700 here, we got Sony's Z450 4K 2/3 inch camera. We got a lot of different things here. Sigma lenses, a lot of exciting stuff.
What else, like looking back at the year, because obviously it's mid-December now, was exciting for BAMPro to be involved with? Or
well, I mean, this Ingenue project is something that's been going on for years, and it's kind of like a search for us to try to find someone who would make a high-end cinematic set of zooms that were affordable. And there's a lot of different overlapping business agreements between all the different third-party vendors and all this stuff out there, and it's very difficult to find somebody that just wants to, that is free to go make something new. And eventually, very luckily, we ran into Ingenue when they were kind of thinking the same thing, and here we are, months and months and years later with these lenses. I've shot on them, they look amazing, prototypes, and now we're getting close to delivery. That's awesome. Same thing with the IBEs, they're like, you talk about something, you get a prototype, it's very promising, but it has maybe, it's prototype, so we did our mechanics this way and we can't mass produce it that way. So then you get the mass produced version, and then you tweak it, and then it's finally ready to party. And that, it's a very interesting process to helping to develop optics.
So since you go on set, you deal with a lot of end users, you handle some tech questions, you got your ear to the tracks, the ground. What's going on in the industry over the last year, and as we start 2017, look, as far as workflow changes or shooting patterns or whatever?
Some of it has a lot to do with streaming providers, Netflix, Amazon, that type of stuff. They have a really hardcore mandate for the camera has to have X number of pixels wide on the sensor, or else we will not accept it, that kind of thing. And that some decisions were made for better or for worse by people that were maybe super technical or maybe just like to read numbers on pages. And, they want some of these companies, they want things in 4K, they want things in HDR, they want to create legacy masters that can be reinterpreted in new formats that don't yet exist or don't have a wide rollout. So people shooting things in RAW and then re-transcoding them, if you shot something in RAW, you can still go back and later and grab it and make a high resolution HDR version of it. Maybe you shot it in HD, standard dynamic range, but there exists the capability to go back into it. And was kind of like a pie in the sky topic, and now it's kind of a street level topic. I think there's more interest in remastering content, and or at least people are now hip to the game that I better capture this as good as possible. The flip side of that is you have 4K on your cell phone now, and you use it for a Snapchat and then it disappears in a few hours. It's kind of, I feel like it's going both ways at once.
And where do you see things, next year, the year after? I mean, a little bit of this Randy's crystal ball. I feel
as if all cameras are going to move to a above 4K resolution, and then people are going to stop caring about it, because from what I've been noticing, I just got back from Japan, and everyone's 8K crazy over there. It's 8K wherever you look. 8K, 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 16K ready. And then you sit at the recommended distance from the 8K display, and you're like, oh, what is the difference between this and 4K? Well, it seems as if I'm seeing all the aberrations in the lens, and I'm seeing basically you're kind of bumped up against optical physics. And I feel as if we need to go into another generation past what we're looking at right now of lenses. And I always say this, lenses are not on Moore's law, they don't get twice as sharp every 18 months. It's we need to create a new kind of optical physics basically to go past much further than where we are. I feel like 8K is pretty much a practical limit of resolution, and we can finally stop obsessing about it. Start getting into wide color gamut, and high dynamic range, and just really beautiful, rich, realistic color palettes. And of course, I've ignored the elephant in the room with VR. It seems as if there's maybe it's not even the same business as narrative filmmaking, really. But parties that have come into the entertainment industry from the outside, from Silicon Valley, that have unending fire hoses of money are cool, we want to develop VR, and we have $500 million to do it, and it's very strange. It's taking away some of the most high-end minds in the film industry are getting pulled into this field here. And it's interesting because on one hand you have to have so much computational power, but on the other hand the cameras have to be really small, so a lot of times people are using GoPros and micro cameras and all that stuff, and it's we're not there at the point of there's no Alexa of VR, you know what I mean? There's not a high-end cinema quality, easy to use solution out there. So it'll be interesting to see if something like that emerges from within the film industry or from Silicon Valley, or hopefully a conversational merger between the two, rather than just oh, this is what we thought we should make, and we didn't talk to anyone on the DP side, anyone on the film side. I don't know. I mean, I see some of that happening, and I see, there's feature films that have been done recently that were live streamed also, one-shot feature films and stuff like that. That's kind of interesting.
Well, I was just going to ask real quick, because we have 1 minute.
Yeah.
But you personally, you're a DP, you shoot.
Yeah.
Have you done any project recently that you want to tell people about, or are you shooting something amazing coming up?
So some of the recent things I worked on, I did a VistaVision Red demo film for the new Ingenue lens, about a really good friend of mine, Antonio Barragan, who's a fashion designer downtown LA. What an incredible format. It's kind of to mix the feel of full frame still photography with cinema in a documentary sized format. I mean, that camera and the lens and everything is this big, but it's an IMAX camera, so that's incredible. Also, personal project wise, I shot a film called Taste Great that's in really deep post right now and should be done in a month or two. Then we shot that on Alexa, Area Raw, super speeds. It's a really classic, cool, cinematic look to it. And then I did a web series called Drivers that had Jeff Garland from Curb Your Enthusiasm and Darren Criss, who was he was in Glee and most recently on Hedwig, and that's coming out too. That's a YouTube series about kind of crazy, absurd Uber drivers that invade your personal space. And so I don't know. I have 8, and that was on a Red Weapon 6K. So I mean, I like to mix it up. I like to shoot on all the different formats, and I'm also I have really close friends of mine that are working heavily in VR, and I get into a lot of discussions with them about that. And I'm really excited to see where that goes. And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of an open field right now. I feel like some of the technology is kind of stabilizing, and some of it is completely crazy.
So where can we find BandPro online, and where can we find you?
At BandPro, we have a web address that is actually bandpro.com.
All right.
Myself, strangely enough, I have a website called randywedick.com, and you can check out stuff there. But right now, I'm rebuilding my reel over the next couple of weeks, so I will have a new one on there very shortly.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Thanks for coming by.
Yep.